Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And if you do hear any sort of noises at all, it's my dishwasher, and I'm in my kitchen right now getting myself some coffee. Um, so you'll be hearing that potentially, not very loud, but it'll make some noises that'll be in the background. But we seem to be having a little bit of an issue here, like a little bit of an issue surrounding one GoldenEye 007. Um, so yeah, I know that there are a lot of people complaining about this game, about how it controls, about how it feels to play it, and I guess what their expectations were of it. And I'm just like, it's like, how old is this game now? like, like, this game is old. It's an N64 emulation that came on Xbox and Switch. So what is getting everybody so twisted up? What's getting everybody so wound tight about this game? And why were your expectations so high? So I'm like, it's again N64 emulation. If you wanted a more modernized version of 007, that game did come out on the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii not that long ago. Well, I mean, it was a while ago, but relative to this version of 007, it wasn't that long ago. And back then, when that game came out, and I do remember seeing a lot of headlines, or potentially seeing a lot of headlines about people complaining about how that game wasn't the N64 game. Hell, I'll even admit I threw in some complaints about that too myself because Pierce Brosnan wasn't in the game. It was Daniel Craig. Even though I know it was due to licensing and stuff like that, I still had my complaints and reservations. Even though I think honestly that one was a decent game. It didn't hold the feeling that the original GoldenEye did. And I think now what people are looking for is that more modernized take on that game, but they're not getting it out of an emulation, and it's confusing. It's like gamers just don't know what they want, which is the majority of the time. But I would also like to take note of how there were a bunch of gaming news organizations that all said very similar things around the exact same time. Granted, it is potentially possible through some form of osmosis for all of that to happen. But if we're following history, gaming journalists communicate with each other. All the different companies talk to each other, share information, and get together on when they're going to do like a big piece on something. When they're all going to share an opinion. So, my thoughts on this is firstly, don't take them into consideration. Most of them are not credible. Secondly, if you have a way to play the game, say you have a Switch and you have NSO expansion pack, play it. Just go ahead and play it. If you have Xbox and you want to play it, and I think it's a part of Rare Replay, if I remember correctly, play it. Play it. But don't expect it to play like a modern game. It's an N64 emulation. Meaning it's an older game that you want to play that's going to feel like an older game. You shouldn't expect it to feel like anything up to date at this point. I can tell you from playing it myself on my Xbox, because I don't have the expansion pack for NSL. I'll probably can pick it up at some point. I just don't have it right now. But the game still operates and functions mostly how I remember it. I mean, there's some slight differences because of playing on an Xbox controller versus an N64 controller. But I've also played this game on the Xbox I've played it on my PC through xCloud and also my phone through xCloud to see how it feels with the different variations of the game. Even though it's still the same game, I'm still playing on the same save and all that. I still wanted to just give it a test run on each version of what Xbox offers. And so far, personally, for me, the game is decent. Like, I didn't expect to be wowed and like, hey, this is going to be the most amazing experience ever. But for what it is a decent experience for what it was. So, I mean, that's maybe it's just my personal opinion. Maybe I'm nostalgia blasted, I guess, because I didn't go into the game having high expectations. I went into it expecting an N64 game. Which that's another thing to me. So many people praised Rare Replay. A lot of these companies praised Rare Replay for having a bunch of N64 games and N64 versions of games. Because Conker's Bad Fur Day that's on Rare Replay is the 64 version, not the Xbox version. And nobody complained about that, or at least not the majority complained about that as far as like the gaming publications are concerned. But everybody's harping on GoldenEye 007, which is essentially using the exact same format. I'm just saying, keep it consistent, please. Now, me personally, again, I went into this expecting an N64 game with some slightly cleaned up textures and maybe a higher resolution, but outside of that, no, I wasn't expecting much. And the game runs exactly how I expected it to run. As close to how the N64 had it as it could. I mean, if you've played Perfect Dark recently on Xbox 360 and as part of Rare Replay, you would know what to expect going into 007. It's not that different. Maybe just a slight downgrade from Perfect Dark because there was so much more you could do in Perfect Dark. But it's essentially the same control scheme and same set of functions. Now, I do know that there's a big complaint about the control schemes for the Nintendo Switch. And there have been videos put out so people can adjust their control settings to make it comfortable to play with a Pro controller and on different profiles. And also there's the option to have an N64 controller playable with the Switch, which is not an available option for the Xbox. That's why Xbox is already set the way it is. But taking all of that into consideration and thinking all of that through, again, I'm just questioning what did people expect out of this? Because I can tell you it was not going to be this miraculous, oh, this game came out and it's going to be the holy grail of everything. No, this is just showing you how the FPS genre moved forward in steps. It started with Doom being the major player. Then GoldenEye became the major player for a while, and then it moved on from there. It happens. Things change in droves, but for some reason, people expect history to be different. When you play this game, think of playing a historical piece, because that's what it is at this point. It's a piece of history. I mean, technically, every game is, but in this specific instance, is a significant piece of gaming history. And that's all you need to treat it as. Not some, oh, this is the most wonderful game ever type thing. No, it couldn't be by today's standards. you, that would be like slapping a fish on the inside of a computer and saying, hey, my computer's water cooled now. That was a ridiculous image. That's why I started laughing when I was going to say it. But treat GoldenEye 007 is a piece of gaming history that you can go back to and you can experience what it was like before. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't expect an emulation to be modernized, especially from a big company. If you're looking for modernized emulations, then you're definitely going to have to go to the modding and hacking community for those things, not the big company. Know what you're getting and know who you're getting it from and what to expect. And I'm guessing a lot of people, once they saw the complaints and they was like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and play it, and I'm going to, just so I can prove I played it, and then I'm going to go out and make my rant and blow up off of this. Like, this is 007, and it's not going to really get you anywhere, trust me. But, yeah, I'm done. I just had to put my opinion out about that because it just seemed kind of, not the brightest. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out, everybody.